do not necessarily represent those of the staff, management, or owners of WGBB.
Good afternoon, good evening. This is Ted Hicks. This is Late Night Parent. I guess it's the pre-Thanksgiving show. We're here in the studio with Dr. Michelle, Rich Valdez are in here. Happy to have them here tonight. Want to thank our stations that distribute the show, the many. Want to thank you guys across the internet. Most importantly, want to thank our friends at WGBB, 1240 AM. And I think I do want to thank Mr. Chris Whalen, CPA. We had a great podcast Wednesday night. We talked about post-election podcast, and we laid it all out there. So if you're interested, you can find it on iTunes, SoundCloud, or iHeartRadio. Just check for Late Night Parents. Without further ado, I want to turn this over to Rich Valdez and Dr. Michelle and just say, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. How are both of you guys doing?
I am doing just well. Happy pre-Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So tonight we got I like to say an interesting show.
I think it will be.
I like to say it's an interesting show.
It's always an interesting show when we're all together, I think.
This is true.
And I didn't know you were coming, Rich, because otherwise I was going to wear my medal. And this one over here said he wasn't sure, so I did not wear it.
Just for me?
I was. The medal just for you.
I'll be here next week.
You see?
I might not be. No.
Oh, see?
Okay.
I commit, and she just drops me. Wow.
So before we get into our guests, over the next 5-6 weeks, the show is going to differ a little bit because I will be taking a break. From the show to do other great things like football, hockey, more football, basketball,
football,
hockey,
basketball.
Go basketball.
Yeah, a little bit all the above. But the show itself continues in spirit. I think a couple of weeks we're going to have, we could have the initial Ask Dr. Michelle show. We could.
Or we could have Dr. Michelle not here because you're not here.
Oh, okay.
We could have that too.
Oh, my goodness.
I think you should be here.
So, but tonight we have two special guests tonight. At 30 minutes past the hour, we have our new friend, Mr. Ron Dixon, former New York Giant wide receiver. He's going to be joining us. We're going to be talking a little bit about daily fantasy sports and his initiative that he has going on. And also, we're going to talk to him about life after the NBA. Life after the NFL.
NFL.
You know, I got the NBA on my mind.
That's what happens. You know that your real passion is basketball. It is not football, and it's definitely not hockey.
Right. But in the queue, we have none other than Neil Giacobbe, Associate Vice President of Public Affairs at AT&T, because there was a special initiative that happened last month. You guys did know, was National Cyberbullying Prevention Month.
Yes. They had a lot of programs in our school district about that.
Yes. So during last month, there was something special that Neil and his team at AT&T and the Department of Education worked on. And it was involving about 250 students across the nation, including 5 or so teams from New York, visiting New York to participate in the Cyberbullying Film Invitational competition. So really excited to welcome Neil. Neil, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Same here. In the studio, we have Neil, we have Dr. Michelle, we have Rich Valdez. So everyone's excited to hear about what happened last month with the initiative with AT&T and the Department of Education.
Sure. No, it was a real exciting program. It started really in the summer as schools across the country, students are coming back to resume classes. We worked with a group called the All-American High School Film Festival to tap their network of high school filmmaking classes. And as these students were returning to class, we created a curriculum for high school film instructors to engage the students to prepare for filmmaking in New York City, October 5th through the 7th, to create short films on the subject of cyberbullying. And what this curriculum did was twofold. First, it oriented the young filmmakers to the subject of cyberbullying through an immersive step of creating documentaries about cyberbullying in their lives and in their hometowns. And all these documentaries, there's 27 of them available on the YouTube channel for the All-American High School Film Festival, are really incredible, and some of them are actually very heartbreaking and involve stories of 13, 14, 15-year-olds experiencing abuse and harassment, and fortunately living to tell about it on camera. And that was really the first step in the filmmaking process. The second was creating a script and a story on cyberbullying for a narrative story that was shot and produced in New York City. It was made possible with the assistance of Commissioner Julie Menon in the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, who helped secure permits and talent for these amazing filmmakers. There were 27 teams who descended on the city on October 5th, and in 3 amazingly short days, they shot these narrative films, edited them in a production suite that AT&T produced, and submitted them by a 4 p.m. deadline on Friday the 9th. And these two, like the documentaries, are available on the Film Festival's YouTube channel. Some of them are based on true stories. Some of them were scripted, these stories told from scratch. And while all the students were in town, I had the privilege of interviewing them on camera to really learn about their experiences with cyberbullying and how, as advocate filmmakers, they created these stories and what they hoped to achieve with them. So it was a real eye-opening experience for me. I'm a parent of 3 children. My oldest is 12. I've got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. And so I'm very keyed into this very personally. And on behalf of my company, AT&T, this is a very important issue for us. And so this was really a qualitative element to our learning as a company about cyberbullying. The quantitative piece was a survey that we did, a poll of teenagers we conducted in the spring with their parents' permission, and really told an incredible story about cyberbullying and how negative the online world is for adolescents and teens. So these two pieces together really helped us understand what young people are going through as they navigate this online world.
So this is Dr. Reed. Congratulations on a very successful program. So what is the next step, though?
Well, the next step for the filmmaking is to edit these films into a longer format. I just returned last week from a road show that I did in upstate New York with my colleagues and with our partner on the project, the Tyler Clementi Foundation. Some of you know the tragedy of Tyler Clementi. Mm-hmm. I took his life by suicide in 2010. It was one of the first documented suicides that resulted from technology and cyberbullying. Mm-hmm. His mother, Jane Clementi, accompanied me and my colleagues across upstate New York in a media tour to debut and to test a long-form version of a film for high school assemblies that we shared with audiences all across upstate New York, and it strung together several of the films that our teen filmmakers created in New York. And it's really the first stop for these films. The next is in partnership with the New York City Department of Education to create another version of this long-form film intended for adult audiences and really designed for parents to really open their eyes and understand what's going on social media.
Wow, that would be really great. I think because that's something that parents don't necessarily think about these days until something tragically happens. And then once it happens, they think about it and then they go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And this is what our survey proved out. When we did our poll of New York City teens, we also surveyed the parents. And 78% of the parents said they talked to their teens about online safety. But the reason why we also talk to the teens is because the teens, on the other hand, say that the parents really aren't talking to them at all.
Right.
And you believe the teens, not the parents?
Right. Well, we're all ears. We're listening to everyone all at once.
No, that's true. That's very true.
So, Neil, just a quick question. Any tools or additional technologies that AT&T is working on to maybe as a next phase to hand out for like the parents? Or, I mean, this is definitely great first steps. I just want to know, after you put together, the short length films into, let's say, one or two longer films, what are going to be some takeaways for the parents?
Well, really the first takeaway for parents is to really become fluent in social media. And that's what we hope to accomplish with Chancellor, the city schools in New York, is to really bridge this gap, like I'd mentioned, between the parents and the teens. Parents got to wake up and really begin to understand the social media environment and what it means. One of the things that we learned when we had these filmmakers in New York City, these teenagers, some as young as 13 years old, when we did these interviews, we heard time and again teenagers say, that the teachers and our parents, they tell us if you want to stop cyberbullying, just to shut your laptop or to turn off your phone. And really, that's not good advice, because you could turn off your phone, but the cyberbullying, the abuse, and even just the teasing continues even if you're not there to take it in. The comments live on in the comment section of Instagram and these posts. And so the first step is really for parents to take a step back and recognize, look, social media today and the way teens take it in has the same magnitude as if we're all sitting around the TV watching MTV. I grew up in the 80s, and we had Kurt Loder, and we only had a few channels on my TV at home. And it would be as if Kurt Loder came out and criticized the teen for being awkward, or criticized the teen for being sexual, for the way they dressed or being unathletic. That's how it feels when a young person is targeted for abuse and teasing on social media. It's really the same thing. It would be unfathomable when I was a kid for that to happen, for a personality on screen to do that. Because that's really the magnitude and the way that teenagers feel about it, because that is their media environment. And the difference between then and now is that all the people in their community, and really anybody around the world, can jump in and create a cyber mob and join in that criticism. And we know the consequences. Worst case scenario, you have a young person like Tyler Clementi take his life. But most often it's depression, decline in grades. There could even be substance abuse, cutting can happen. That's very common among our adolescents and preteens. And that's just a consequence of this humiliation that happens online, where everyone just sort of piles on, and the young person feels alone and isolated and unable to really reach out for the support that's available for them because they're just so humiliated and embarrassed. So adults really need to take a step back and recognize that the social media landscape is really no different than the entertainment landscape, except it's right there in their hand, and it's 24/7, and it goes on all through the night. So that's the first step, and that's why we really want to talk to parents first, and to close the gap between parents and educators. Because you've got teachers and guidance counselors, vice principals on the front line dealing with this in their schools, and oftentimes they reach out to the parents, and they don't really want to know anything about it. That's something that we learned last week in upstate New York is that the teachers and the principals who we spoke with say that a lot of times the parents they don't want to hear about it. They don't believe it. Yet, as our poll in New York City proved out, 86% of this interaction on social media, it's happening under the parents' roof. It's happening at home. And so parents may have a Facebook experience. There's not a lot of adolescents or teens who are on Facebook anymore. They're someplace else. And what we also learned from our poll is the experience of parents is overwhelmingly positive on social media and Facebook primarily. But what they don't experience is Yik Yak, Ask FM. A lot of parents aren't on Instagram, and they're not exposed to the negativity that is an everyday and every minute part of a young person's experience on the internet. And so we got to close that gap. And what we hope to do is to use these teen-made films to do that, to really give the parents and adults an insight into the minute-by-minute experience of a young person who is under attack, and these films do it. And there are some stunning, heartbreaking. You're going to cry if you watch a few of them. Some of them are really, really jarring. How these teenagers took this experience, some of them had in their own lives, and put it on film. You could see up close what it's like to have some foolish behavior, something they shouldn't have done, get broadcast to the school. And what it's like to get taken down fast by a cyber mob and what that looks like up close and personal. It's really painful, and it was hard to watch. Wow. But we need adults to see that, to wake up and understand that by giving their kids a phone with all this social media access, they've got some responsibility, and they need to understand. And so that's really the first step. That's the first tool. It's just to wake up and understand.
Gotcha, Neil. We want to thank you for taking a few minutes out of your evening and sharing this initiative with us on Late Night Parents. Hey, the best ways to get in contact, one per se you, but let's say we have any listeners tonight that want to hear more about this initiative with AT&T and Department of Education.
I think the first thing, if you want to reach me personally, you could find me on Twitter. You guys followed me and said I followed you back. You could find me on Neil Jacoby at Twitter. That's my handle. Just hit me up with a direct message, or just post something on my stream, and I'll respond to that right away. We're eager to go out and meet with parents and to bring this program right into the schools.
Oh, wow.
Just you can find me there, and that's the first step.
Neil, we want to thank you so much for working with us this evening and talking with us, and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you. You too. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Neil.
So that was pretty interesting.
Very. You do hear about the gap between the parents who just hand the phone over to their kids. It's like, here's your phone. Browse the web all day, all night. Do whatever you're going to do with it that I'm not going to know about. And they have no idea what's going on in the background.
Knock yourself out. I got to tell you, wow. Neil is going to be someone I definitely want to have a long-form discussion with, so we can dig a little bit deeper into this, because a program like that, I mean, outside of a PR rep reaching out, I didn't hear anything about this.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm busy trying to follow him on Twitter.
Oh, okay. Got you. So I guess it's always the Ask Dr. Michelle time.
Always.
But
now it can be officially the Ask Dr. Michelle moment. You know what? I have to do some intro music for Dr. Michelle.
You really have to. You really have to.
Oh, I have to have my theme music.
Yes.
Very true.
Every superhero's got to have theme music.
Very true. I have to think about that.
Oh, my goodness. But we had an article on Late Night Parents, and I know Dr. Michelle can speak to this, about holiday travel checklists for asthmatics. Because this is that time of year.
Yep.
The weather is changing. We could see yesterday it was 64, 65 degrees, and today it's 41.
It's 39 out there right now.
Stop it. It wasn't that cold out.
39 degrees. Yes.
Well, it's cold anytime I start wearing my turtleneck. That's a sign that it's cold. Yeah. So our patients and our audience out there who are asthmatics, This is the time of year where we start to have them coming into the office coughing, wheezing, and more times than not, it just starts as a common cold that sort of progresses. Usually with the asthmatics, it's the extremes of temperature, either when it's very hot or very cold.
Right.
One of the key things is to make sure you always have your medicine. So the times to really be concerned, are you an asthmatic?
Yeah, yes, I am. That's why I was giving you that look, and I lost my inhaler, but we'll talk about that later.
But you know what really bothers me is when a patient comes in and they're like, well, I have asthma. So I'm like, so where's your inhaler? Oh, I don't have one.
Don't have one at all? That's a different story.
At all. So I said, you know what? I'm going to write a prescription for you to get one. Well, I haven't had an attack in years. And I said, well, you know what? If you don't have an attack in years, all you're going to be out in this particular time is the money for your copay.
Or $15 or $20.
That's all.
Right.
So go ahead, pick up your medicine, have it on hand, because you never know when there might be an incident.
Right.
And I remember 7 days after I graduated from medical school, we were on a cruise, and one of my guests had a full cardiopulmonary arrest that was triggered by
Asthma attack.
Candles that set off her to have an asthma attack.
My goodness.
So it's not something that you want to be in a situation like that where you have to be dependent on somebody else to make sure that you stay alive.
Yeah, very true.
So always just carry your medicine with you.
You're right.
Even if you're just going to the store, make sure you have it. You don't know, you might walk past somebody in the supermarket who has very strong perfume or cologne, because we're not going to be biased here, and that can set off an asthma attack. So let's always try and be prepared. So if you're traveling, especially parents who are traveling with their children, the first thing that you should pack is your child's medicine. Forget about the clothes. Clothes you can always get easily, because Walmart's everywhere. You got the super Walmarts. But always bring the medicine. Pack your medicine first. And, of course, make sure you have the number for your child's doctor just in case. And especially even as an adult, adults have asthma attacks, so we're not immune. And more times than not, we're very neglectful, so we'll make sure that the children have their medicine, but we'll neglect that we have ours. I'm sorry, you were just looking at me.
No,
I was not picking on you.
I know you weren't. Don't worry. All good. The kids have theirs.
So, in addition to knowing where your medicine is and having your medicine on time, it's important to know what are your triggers. So, is your asthma triggered by the cold? Is it triggered because when you get an upper respiratory infection? Is it triggered because you're stressed? Because stress is another trigger that will cause someone to start wheezing. Maybe you've been exercising lately, and as you're exercising, you might have exercise-induced asthma. Have your medicine handy at all times.
I've learned my triggers over the years. Dust. Dust is one for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, but I guess since we're talking about this time of the year, one of the key things that is sort of, I guess, a mission of mine is as we approach the holiday time, a lot of people start to have anxiety or depression. And it's something that we need to make sure that we pay attention to, our family, our friends. Be an ear. Make sure that you reach out to someone who you know might go through these problems with anxiety or depression, especially around the holidays. There's a lot of people who, if there's been a death recently, this is going to be their first holiday season without their loved one. Everyone reaches out to you initially when the event happens, but sometimes they sort of neglect you during the holiday time. So we have to really pay attention. And it's not that someone's always going to be crying and moping, woe is me. Sometimes they internalize everything, and when they're by themselves, that's when it comes out. So I think that would be my tip for the week is to start to pay attention more to your family and friends.
Okay.
And reach out, and even if you just do a phone call, just to check in to see how you're doing. We already talked about cyberbullying.
Right.
So let's sort of step away from electronics.
Don't go on Facebook and say, "Hey, how you doing?"
No, that's not our form of communication.
No.
So either pick up the phone or just ring the doorbell and try and do a face-to-face visit. Even this past week, I was studying for my boards, and one of my friends, her father recently died, and I was like, well, you know what? I need to run because I need to just de-stress.
Right.
And at the same time, I need to stop by their house. So I ran to their house.
Okay.
Stayed there a few minutes, and then I ran back home.
Right.
2 for 1.
Right.
5K a day.
Yes. And it was a sunny day.
Yeah.
So, but let's try and make more contact with people as opposed to through our electronics.
Perfect.
Perfect. Great.
Really. and like I said before, this is, I guess we made it a Ask Dr. Michelle segment, but
Yep. It counts. It's for everyone, but it's an official Ask
no,
Dr.
it is.
Michelle.
It is. It really
Without
is.
the theme music.
There will be theme music. There will be.
Oh my goodness! But I don't know about you guys. As you know, yes, I'm a football fan.
I like
Yes.
football too.
You like football too?
Oh, yes. When are we going to a game?
Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're
That's
ready.
a good idea.
We can even tailgate.
Now you're talking.
All right. We can do this.
Start the planning.
We can do this. I mean, but in the cold weather?
See, then you're not a diehard fan.
I was about to say,
we
cold
need to
weather will not
rethink.
stop Ted from going to a game. Trust me.
I'm just saying. 2 years ago, I went to Jets Raiders at MetLife, and it was about 12 degrees out there. My cell phone went from 100% to 0%. And the phone just shut down. It was so cold out there.
Oh,
and
wow.
We called ourselves tailgating that day, and I don't know. But last year, I went to Jets Giants, and we happened to luck up because it was 60 degrees, but it was a December day. So I say all of this because guess who we have on the line? None other than former wide receiver of the New York Giants, Mr. Ron Dixon.
There he is.
He's in the building. Is that Ron? Are you there?
I'm here, loud and clear. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We hear you
We hear
loud
you
and
loud
clear.
and
We hear you. I guess you're excited because the Giants won today, Ron.
Well, I knew that was going to happen yesterday, so
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
well, actually, guys, I'm here at the Hideaway Bar in Orlando, and I'm a Florida boy, so I still have love for my Dolphins. So we were here, and they won, and anyway. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. I heard you were going to be like multitasking because I heard you were having an event in Orlando and you were coming on the show also. I said, well, how's he going to pull this off? But you know what? It's the life of, NFL wide receiver. So, hey.
Well, I just do what I do. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 hands and 2 feet. That means I can do 4 things at one time.
Okay. All right.
Wait, that's very unusual for a man because most times you guys cannot multitask.
Baby, I'm very unusual. Google me, baby. Yeah.
So, Ron, I'm going to tell you this much. When I was introduced to you last week and the third party, our good friend Mike Dixon reached out. Of course, no relation. Mike Dixon, Ron Dixon.
That we know of at this time.
Right.
DNA tests have been proven.
And I got to tell you, I said Ron Dixon. He was like, "Yeah, you." I said, "Yeah, I remember Ron Dixon. I remember the return." I said, "Oh my goodness!" I said, "All right, I know the Giants didn't win that day, Super Bowl 35, but." I guess you have gone down in history.
Well,
go ahead.
The fact that people could even remember that brings tears to my eyes. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the history thing, I have the most kickoff returns for touchdowns in NFL postseason history.
Yes.
There's been more people to walk on the moon. You know what I mean? And we're just going to keep it simple and plain like that.
All right. So, hey, we're going to get real quick into United Games. There's an upcoming initiative that's happening, I believe, December 4th.
Well, let's talk about Fire Fan.
All right, we're going to talk about Fire Fan.
Fire Fan, which is a new sports app that I'm a part of. And it's going to revolutionize the way we watch sports. Okay? Like, this is not going to be your app where, you know, with the spreadsheet and all of that. This is going to be your grandma and your aunties fighting over the phone, watching football games at Thanksgiving. Yeah, with the grandkids. That's what this is. It's called Fire Fan, and we're super excited about it. It's the first app that allows you to interact in real time with the game that you're watching. When I explain it to people, I like to tell them, like, this is social media on steroids combined with sports.
Oh, wow.
Right? So with that being said, what I've done went and created the Ron Dixon Fire Fan experience.
Okay.
All right? So everybody who gets registered with me, you can go to firefan.com, put in the code NY86, and you'll be a part of my team, and you'll be automatically entered into a live drawing. Now, what that gets you, the winner, we're going to do a live drawing, and the winner, I already set up like 10 tailgate parties, so we're going to tailgate hop. And then we have tickets to the game. I have sideline passes. And then me and the winner, we're going to be behind the scenes, mean and clean, kicking it like we want to. Then we're going to watch the game and interact and play the app in real time while we're watching them Giants and them Cowboys play. Yeah, you heard me say it.
All right. So tell me now, Dr. Michelle, Rich Valdez, and myself, we were just talking about attending a game. We want to know how do we win?
How do you win? How do you win? This is what you do. You go to firefan.com.
I'm there already. Go ahead. Next step.
You put in the code NY86.
NY86.
And you're automatically entered.
Okay.
You're automatically entered, and we're going to do a live drawing from a place of my choosing. We're going to go live on Facebook. I'm going to make sure everybody know what's going on, and, you know, I'm going to call the person live on the air.
Okay. I kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot. Hey, Ron, I want to ask you real quickly. After the NFL, your career in the NFL ended, what were your thoughts like when you moved on? Like when life itself became regular again?
Let me say this right here, guys.
Okay.
I've never really been a real football fan, but the little piece of fan that I've ever been, I was a Dolphin fan. And I was trying to get the Dolphins to draft me before the Giants did. But when I hurt my knee and got messed up, the Dolphins, ironically, were that was the team I worked out for. And it just didn't work out. So you just have to change the chapter. You know what I'm saying? You have to change the page. Like, everybody's not able to do that. Like,
right.
I love football. I love what football allowed me to do. But it's not my identity. You know what I'm saying? I have other talents. I'm a people's person. As you all can agree, sitting amongst yourselves. I have ability with people. You know what I'm saying? I have an ability to make people feel great about themselves and me at the same time, you know? So, you know, I'm a people's person. I'm here. I'm the director of membership of the NFL alumni here in Central Florida. And we're just, you know, making it happen.
Gotcha, Ron.
Now, let me say this one more time.
Okay.
Everybody can go to firefan.com, put in the code NY86, and in my Trump voice, our app, we're making sports apps great again. Okay? We're making sports apps great again.
Oh, my goodness.
We're about to change the world.
All right.
There's a few marriages that's on the teeter-totter. We're finna come through, and we're finna save them.
Ron, you are one in a million. I got to tell you this much. Sometime this week, we got to get you on the show for a long-form podcast so we can, dig a little bit deeper into Fire Fan and life as it's, as it happens today and everything else like that.
Hey, I appreciate being on, and I'm at your disposal.
You got it. Tell us best ways to follow you and the Fire Fan app.
Oh, you know what, man? I almost gave you my real phone number. God.
Oh,
really? That's for everybody?
No.
I don't know if you want to give everyone.
Listen, guys, you have to understand the whole little Twitter thing and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm getting in there. I'm still a virgin, but RonDix86 is my Twitter thing, and Instagram is RonDix86, I think, as well. And you can find me on Facebook. If you're a real fan, I go. I'm already at my limit of people, but I think I have a fan page as well. But the best thing to do is be on my team, because the bigger my team, the bigger the giveaways I'm gonna do. So the thing you really want to do is go to firefan.com, put in NY86, and you never know, I might come to your house.
Oh, okay.
Your dreams or something. I don't know.
All right. Well,
for the moment, I'm a Gemini.
I got you.
Well, I already signed up to be on your team.
All right now.
And
you may have a car come tomorrow morning.
That'll be good for me.
Look, you know what? The thing about it is, with my team, I'm going to ask them, hey, what y'all want? Some people may say, I want my Social Security number changed or something like that. I ain't going to be able to do that, but I can do a car.
Oh, my goodness. Ron, as always, thanks so much for joining us. And thanks again to Mike Dixon for making this happen.
Pleasure, brother. Appreciate everything, man. Holler at me anytime. Yeah?
You got it.
Have a good night.
Take care, Ron. All right.
So I guess that's the show. I don't even know how we follow that one up.
Ron was having a good time.
He's having a good old time, and I don't know. Might have been touching some of those LIQs. Love Ron for joining us and talking about Fire Fan and everything else like that.
It was the sunny weather. It was nice there.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Nice.
He's just down in Florida. I mean, we're talking 35. He's probably got like 65.
Yeah.
The weather was
Warm
nice.
weather.
That's what it was.
Good time.
Well, I'm following Ron now, too, so hey.
Oh, don't be a copycat.
Oh, my goodness. But I want to say thanks again to Mike Dixon from WZEA 107.1 FM in Ormond Beach, Florida, for making the connect. Really appreciate you for doing that. So there's no promos. I want to give a big shout out to Verizon Fios. Of course, Rich Valdez and Dr. Michelle Reed, Ask Dr. Michelle. I want to give a shout out to you guys. And really talk about, Rich, I'm ready to hand the reins over to you to talk about what's going to happen this week.
Black Friday.
Really?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know anything about that one.
Sure. I'll ask that young man behind you. I'm sure he knows something about it. Black Friday, one of the biggest shopping days of the year. Everyone's getting ready. Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving, get out there, run out to the stores at crazy hours of the morning, going online, spending all that money.
Do you actually do that?
I haven't, but I actually might be. I've seen two items which I'm really interested in.
Really?
I might be there like 5 o'clock on Thanksgiving.
Really?
In the afternoon, yeah.
Hey,
a couple of TVs.
Before we even get into your segment, Rich, I just want to throw this question out to both of you. What are your thoughts on these stores that are like not closing, that are saying Thanksgiving at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're going to start our Black Friday? I mean, it's not fair for the employees, because that is, especially Thanksgiving Day. Right.
That's the holiday.
Right.
That's the day when everyone traditionally has been spending as much time with friends and family, relax, get your food on, sit back, do nothing, not have to worry about going to work, running around, doing anything. So, it's just a shame that maybe the stores are just in that situation now where they need to make that money. Especially the brick and mortars, because that's where it is now. Everyone else is going to go on Cyber Monday.
Right.
Yeah, but I was going to say, but even if that's the case, I mean, that's not good for their morale, for their clientele, as far as not even their clientele, but their employees.
That's right.
So their employees are going to be there with an attitude because they really want to be with their family.
Yep, you're right.
So I'm right behind you, Rich, on that one.
So, of course, having just said I might be there at 5 o'clock on Thursday, maybe, but that's what we'd have to do. We'd have to say everyone just don't do any shopping on Thanksgiving Day.
Right.
Well, you don't have to worry about me because I hate shopping, so I am nowhere near the stores.
I've never, ever
Neither have I.
ever attended a Black
Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, or
Friday,
or my sons have. I've never done it.
Really? Your sons have?
Yeah, they come home with TVs every year. Seriously, every year he gets a larger TV. He's like, all right, I'm going to bring home a 60 this year.
I remember the one year I was supposed to stand out there for the PlayStation 3, and I didn't.
Okay.
And my son was upset. And I told him,
well.
I said, you'll get over it. I was like, I'm not doing it.
Yep.
All right. Your thoughts on Black Friday as per safety, security?
Well, Black Friday, this is it's a Black Friday thing and a Cyber Monday thing.
Right.
Oh, yeah, Cyber Monday.
Yeah, that's the big online shopping day.
Okay.
But of course, now in preparation for Black Friday, all the vendors are releasing apps to get into the best deals, connect to their sites to see, what's going to be available on those days. Now, if you probably read recently in the New York Times, there was information that hundreds of faulty, defective, or imposter apps were on the App Store, and they had to get pulled down. Hundreds of them. And, there was a time when we would think, all right, these are going to be for Joe's Pizzeria or, Mom and Pop's shoe store on the corner. But these were apps that were out there purporting to be from places like Dollar Tree and Foot Locker and Dillard's and Nordstrom's and Jimmy Choo and Christian Dior. So what you have to worry about now is just because an app, you have to go farther than just going on the App Store, typing in the vendor name, and clicking on the first app you find. Because a lot of them try to imitate looking like the real thing. And a lot of times you can tell because there will be spelling changes or spelling faults on the app. Like the big one was Foot Locker. It was Foot Lock. There was no R at the end.
Oh, wow.
But they posted like 16 different apps all under that name, and they were all imitation apps. So some of the things are, some of these apps don't really do too much except put a bunch of pop-ups up for you to go buy from these alternate vendors. But the concern is you still don't know what they're doing. So even if you do go to these alternate vendors, you make a purchase, you're putting in your credit card information. You don't know if this is, just going to be only used for the purchase, or then it's going to find its way down line to some nefarious, person trying to see your credit card information.
So then how do we know what's real and not real? Like I said, let's not shop.
We can't do that. So you have to the answer is look at the app, or my recommendation always is, if you want to get the app for a store, go to the store's website. And when I say that doesn't mean go to Google, type in the store's name, and go to the first hit there. No, go in the top of your browser, type in www.store.com. Once you're on their website, just about every store put the link to their app now these days. And they say, go online to our app. Go to the app link there. That's going to take you to either the iTunes store or to the Google Play Store to get the official app. Click on that, download it, don't worry about it, install it, and you're straight from there.
I never thought about that.
That's really the guaranteed way to do it. And again, I stress on that. Don't go to Google and type the store's name, because you're going to get a bunch of hits, which half of them will not be the store.
I guess I'm guilty of that then.
Most people are. But that's what you have to worry about. And the other thing is, a lot of these apps now are trying to synchronize your authentication using your Facebook login.
Right.
So you go to one of the malware apps, you click on that, it says, all right, well, log in here using your Facebook login. You click on the link, it looks like it's forwarding you to Facebook for authentication. You put in your username and your Facebook password, and it might log you into Facebook, but now they could have captured that information and do whatever with it. And if you're like 90% of the people out there, the same password you use for Facebook with that email address, you use for other websites with that email address. And now they could potentially have access to who knows what.
Oh, wow.
So you really, really, have to track that.
Okay. So let's just say if I'm not going the app route and I'm going the browser route. So I'm sitting at my home.
Yep.
Nice and comfy.
Yep.
I got the hot cocoa right there.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the screen, and it's really, really bright, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this. And I decide to buy something. Tell us about the difference between HTTP and HTTPS.
So, and these days, almost nothing that's out there is using just plain HTTP. So the differences are, one is secured and encrypted. That's the HTTPS. And the other one, there is no encryption. So in other words, when the data is transmitted, when it's non-HTTPS, the text is almost call it plain text. What you type, when you press enter, it's sent, and anyone monitoring it can basically read what's going on if they're kind of track what's on your system or your data line. If it's encrypted, it's going to be using either a 256-bit or a 1024-bit encryption key, which scrambles all the information between the two sites, between your computer and the host computer, scrambles it, and so that anyone who might be trying to hack or track in and see what's going on would not be able to read that information. So you never really, and one of the key ways, different browsers do it different ways, but if you look in the upper left corner from your browser, you'll see usually a little lock icon, or it'll highlight it and say it's encrypted, or it'll say something maybe like VeriSign. That's one of the most popular vendors that does the encryption. Once you see that, you know that whatever you type there at least is being composed and encrypted so that it couldn't be tracked and hacked into easily.
Listen, I'm an impulse buyer. So let's say I'm sitting here and I'm walking somewhere and I said, you know what? I see a public terminal. And I saw a wonderful gift that I'm thinking about getting for Dr. Michelle for what she's doing with the show and everything else like that. And I walk up to a public terminal.
Hold up a second. You said,
See, I know he's
First, you should ask him what the gift is.
No. I wouldn't put him out there like that. Because I know it's going to be a good gift. See, you don't have to worry about that.
Gift.
Anyway,
Wonderful.
It's going to be
go
a great
ahead.
gift.
Sorry for the interruption.
It's going to be fantastic.
But see, I'm going to grab Ted as he walks up to that terminal and turn that terminal off, or turn him around and tell him, walk away. Don't do it. Because here's the problem. When you're on a public terminal, you have no idea where that connection is, who else is monitoring. I mean, there are guys who do this for a living who will sit in that, sit in that coffee shop and just look at all the traffic, monitor the traffic that's on the wireless, and just pick information out of it. The last place you want to do anything, especially if it's going to involve a credit card, or don't even think about doing banking at your coffee shop. You want to just browse the web and not put any information on, and just fine, go right ahead. Don't do any transactions publicly if there's any way at all you can avoid it. And if not, make sure you see that HTTPS in the browser, so at least you know that it's encrypted. But I still recommend don't do it at all.
So is the safest thing to do for Cyber Monday or Black Friday to just go into a brick and mortar store?
The safest? Probably. But then, of course, you have to worry about skimmers on credit card readers, and you have to worry about the people in the store if they're doing the right thing. But, do I worry about shopping online? No, I don't. Okay. It's safe. It's secure when you're doing it through an approved vendor and a well-known store. Shop to your heart's content. And, the other thing about it is also that all the credit card companies will back you up if something does go wrong and you're on a site and you prove that, I didn't know this was going on. They'll back you up because for them, this is, billions and billions of dollars a year in theft. And, everything they want to do is catch these people.
Right. All right. Well, I think that's perfect because I am now prepared to do the right thing when I won't be physically at that brick and mortar store, but I think I'll be sitting at a desktop that's mine, that I can log in, that if it's an approved website, I will go in and make a purchase and look for the HTTPS and look for the little lock in the upper left-hand corner. And if there's any type of McFufu site, I will turn away from it.
You have to just be aware. Look at it. McFufu.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness.
All that to say, I didn't get my gift.
Eventually. But, that's a heck of a story to tell. You can say, hey, well, I was getting you this wonderful gift.
Yep, and I got hacked.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, it's a great story. But I got to tell you this, along with that, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving?
Right now, that's a good question. Deciding whether or not who's doing the cooking, if there'll be cooking done. Or, I heard that someone might be inviting everyone around to come to the house.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so Ted, just let us know what your address is, and we will be right there with all of our family and our bellies.
I think I'll be cooking a turkey.
Really?
Yeah. I've done the last 2 years. Yeah, the last 2 years I've done the turkey.
Okay.
And after that, I mean, then Linda goes hog wild with everything else. But I think I'll do it this year.
All right.
Guess we'll come by your house then.
Welcome to come by. You're not doing any cooking,
You're not doing
Dr.
any
Michelle?
cooking?
Come on. She looked at us, both of us, like, out of our minds. You got Brian laughing back there.
Brian, is that you that I hear laughing? Thank you. I'll be coming by somebody's house to eat.
Okay.
All right.
Now I'm committed.
All right. That sounds good.
I'll take pictures. I'll stream it. You'll know when the turkey's being basted.
Definitely.
I will.
I just know what time to get on the LIE.
Jump on the LIE.
Forget about getting on the LIE. We'll come the night before.
Oh, my
now
goodness.
it's a party. Now we're going to tailgate free Thanksgiving.
We'll have the pre-party.
There we go.
Oh, my goodness. But other than that, I know you guys are prepared for... We got a short work week this week.
Some of us don't have a work week this week.
Yeah, he doesn't have a work week. I'll be working.
I'll be working too.
I mean, the life of Rich Valdez.
Vacation.
Vacation.
Birthday, then vacation.
Does
he really work?
My supervisor is a slave driver.
Oh,
really?
Oh my God!
Your supervisor gave you the time off.
No, I earned that time off.
He earned it. He earned it. You see that? You see how he threw that one around? He threw that one around. But listen, I guess we'll go around the table. Best ways to get in contact with you.
Best ways, still the same ways. On Twitter, you can get me at RichieV_NY or at Facebook at Facebook.com/TheRealRichieV.
Dr. Michelle?
And for me, it is AskDr Michelle with 1 L on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I think that's all the ways. And also the website.
Right. AskDrMichelle.com. And if we have any patients or anyone that wants to see you that way so that they can be health and wellness and all the above, what should they do?
So the office number is 516-794-2200, extension 8, and that is MS Family Medicine Healthcare PC. And we're open Monday through Saturday.
Wow. That's
nonstop.
Great. That's nonstop. All right, I think this is just about a wrap. I'm Ted Hicks. Want to close this on out. Want to thank Neil Giacob and Mr. Ron Dixon for joining us. Thanks again. We'll be back next week, and we'll have more information on when the first Ask Dr. Michelle show will be in the month of December.
Dun, dun.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yes, with the theme music.
Have a good week, everyone.
Expressed in the previous program did not necessarily represent those of the staff, management, or owners of WGBB.
Have you ever considered hosting your own radio program right here